I am Nora Townsend, 29 years old. 3 days ago, my family called to tell me not to come to New Year's Eve. You'll just make everyone uncomfortable, my mom said, her voice smooth and final, like she was declining a business proposal. So I spent December 31st alone in my studio apartment in Cambridge, watching strangers celebrate through my window while my family toasted champagne in their Greenwich mansion, without me. At exactly 12:01 a.m., my phone rang. My brother Ryan. His voice was shaking. Nora, what did you do? Dad just saw the news and he's not breathing right. Mom is screaming. What the hell did you do? The news he was talking about? My company, Neural Thread Inc., had just gone public at midnight with a valuation of $2.1 billion, making me one of the youngest female tech billionaires in America. But the money wasn't the shock. It was what I revealed in the Forbes interview that went live at the same moment. 3 years of emails, patents, and recordings proving my brother tried to steal my work. Before I tell you what happened that night, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you truly connect with this story. And if you're watching this, drop a comment telling me where you're from and what time it is where you are. I'd love to know who's listening. Let me take you back to 3 years ago when this all started. The Townsend family wasn't just wealthy. We were legacy. Old money from Greenwich, Connecticut, the kind that came with a 40-year-old medical device company, a mansion with actual columns, and the expectation that you'd know which fork to use at charity galas before you turned 10. My brother Ryan was groomed for all of it. 5 years older than me, effortlessly charming, the kind of person who could walk into a room and make everyone feel like they mattered. He wore Tom Ford suits like they were jeans. He played golf with investors. He was everything our parents wanted in an heir. I was different. I liked code more than cocktail parties. I got into MIT for computer science, and while my parents smiled for the acceptance photos, I heard my mother tell a friend, "It's a phase. She'll grow out of it and do something more practical." When I graduated, top of my class, with a research focus on AI-driven medical diagnostics, my family didn't come to the ceremony. They were at Ryan's golf tournament, a charity event, my mother explained. "Ryan needs us there for networking, sweetie. You understand." I understood. I understood when I moved into a tiny studio in Cambridge with 2 roommates while Ryan got the penthouse in Back Bay. I understood when family dinners became strategy sessions where they discussed Townsend Industries' quarterly reports and I sat quietly, pushing my food around a Wedgwood plate. I understood when my father introduced Ryan to business partners as the future of this company and introduced me as our daughter who does computers. But here's what I learned early. In my family, brilliance was less valuable than charm. Innovation was less valuable than tradition. And I was less valuable than Ryan. I just didn't know how much less until 3 years ago. In March 2022, I was working on something big. Not interesting research big, revolutionary big. My 2 co-founders from MIT and I had developed an algorithm that could analyze medical imaging data faster and more accurately than any existing system. Early detection for diseases that usually killed people before doctors even knew what to look for. We were calling it Neural Thread because it threaded together neural networks in a way no one had done before. We were months away from beta testing. Investor meetings were scheduled. Everything was falling into place. Then my mother called. "Nora, we need to talk about Ryan." Her voice had that edge, the one that meant this wasn't a request. "Townsend Industries is going through a difficult quarter. Your brother is under enormous pressure. Your family, you need to help." I explained that I was in the middle of critical development, that my startup was at a fragile stage. Startup. She said the word like it tasted bad. "Nora, startups are for people who have nothing to lose. You have a legacy. You have a family business that's been around for 40 years. Ryan needs support, and you're sitting in that little apartment playing with computers." The implication was clear. My work was a hobby. Ryan's was real. But I'd learned something at MIT that my mother never understood. Protect your intellectual property before someone else claims it. So, before I agreed to anything, I met with James Kirby, a lawyer who specialized in IP protection for tech startups. We sat in Flower Bakery in Cambridge, my laptop open between us, and he walked me through the paperwork. If anyone tries to claim your work, James said, sliding the patent application across the table, we'll have a paper trail that even the best lawyers can't break. I filed the patent on March 15, 2022. Every line of code, every algorithm iteration, time-stamped and legally mine. I didn't plan to use it. I just wanted insurance. I agreed to consult for Ryan. Family obligation, my mother called it. I drove down to the Townsend Industries headquarters in Stamford, a glass building with our family name in brushed steel letters above the entrance. Ryan's office was on the top floor, corner view, walls covered in framed awards and a Leica black and white print of our grandfather. Nora! He hugged me like we were close. We weren't. Thanks for coming. This means everything. I explained some basic concepts about integrating AI into diagnostic devices. Not the core algorithm, I wasn't stupid, but enough to show him the potential. He took notes on a yellow legal pad, nodding enthusiastically. This is exactly what we need, he said. Investors are going to love this. 2 weeks later, he invited me to a pitch meeting with a venture capital firm from Boston. I sat in the back of the conference room, walnut table, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the sound, while Ryan presented. My ideas, my research, my framework. Townsend Industries is pioneering the integration of artificial intelligence into medical device manufacturing, he said, clicking through a slide deck I'd never seen before. We're positioned to revolutionize early diagnostics. One of the investors glanced at me. And you are? Ryan didn't miss a beat. That's my sister Nora. She's been helping with some of the technical research. Helping? Like I was his assistant. After the meeting, Ryan handed me a document. Just a standard NDA, he said, to protect the family business. You understand? I read it. Non-disclosure agreement covering all proprietary information related to Townsend Industries. This is to protect me too, right? I asked. Of course, he smiled. We're family, Nora. We protect each other. I signed it. Because I still believed family meant something. Thanksgiving 2023. The dining room at my parents' house looked like a magazine spread, long table set with my grandmother's Wedgwood china, crystal wine glasses catching the chandelier light, arrangements of white roses and eucalyptus down the center, 12 guests, business partners, family friends, a couple who'd just endowed a wing at Greenwich Hospital. My mother seated me at the far end, next to my father's golf buddy's wife, who spent the entire appetizer course talking about her Pilates instructor. When the main course came out, turkey on a silver platter, sides in matching serving dishes, my mother stood to make introductions. Most of you know my son, Ryan, she beamed. CEO of Townsend Industries. We're so proud of what he's building. He's just closed a partnership with a major hospital network. Applause. Ryan raised his wine glass, humble smile in place. And this is our daughter, Nora. My mother's voice changed, still pleasant, but cooler. Nora works in technology. She's very bright, but she's not much for socializing. A few polite smiles. One of the guests, a silver-haired man in a Brioni blazer, leaned forward. Technology? What kind? I opened my mouth to answer, but Ryan jumped in. Nora's still figuring out her path, he said, laughing lightly. She's very introverted, brilliant with computers, but, he made a vague gesture, not great with people. The table laughed, polite, dismissive laughter. I felt my face go hot. I stared at my plate, at the perfectly carved turkey I suddenly couldn't eat. After dinner, my mother pulled me into the kitchen. Nora, I know you don't mean to, but you make people uncomfortable. You barely said a word in there. Could you try to be more warm? I didn't get a chance to. Sweetheart, I'm not criticizing. I'm helping. People like warmth. They like energy. You're so, she sighed, heavy. I left before dessert. In June 2024, Ryan called me into his office. Emergency meeting, he said. I drove down on a Tuesday morning. His assistant waved me through. She'd seen me enough times to recognize me now. Ryan was standing at the window, hands in his pockets, staring out at the water. He turned when I came in, and his expression was different, tense. We need the full algorithm, Nora. I blinked. What? The AI diagnostic tool. The one you've been working on. We need it for Townsend Industries. Investors are pulling back, and we need a breakthrough. This could save the company. Ryan, that's not Townsend Industries' work. That's my startup. Your startup? He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Nora, you've been consulting for us. You signed an NDA. Everything you've worked on in relation to our business belongs to the company. That's not how NDAs work. Don't tell me how they work. His voice hardened. I'm trying to save our family's legacy. Don't you care about that? Before I could answer, the door opened. My mother walked in, heels clicking on the hardwood floor. She must have been waiting. Nora. She sat down in one of Ryan's leather chairs, crossed her legs. Your brother is right. You signed an agreement. You have a legal obligation. The NDA covers Townsend Industries' proprietary information, I said slowly. It doesn't cover my personal projects. Personal projects that you developed while consulting for us, Ryan shot back. That's a conflict of interest. My mother's expression was ice. Nora, don't make this a legal issue. Family doesn't sue family. Give Ryan the algorithm and we can all move forward. I looked between them. My brother, my mother, both of them staring at me like I was the problem. No, I said. Ryan's face flushed. Careful, Nora. You don't want to make this ugly. I left, but not before I pressed the voice memo button on my phone in my pocket. Massachusetts is a one-party consent state. After that meeting, I stopped getting invited to family dinners. It wasn't dramatic. No one called to disinvite me. The weekly emails from my mother's assistant, dinner this Sunday, 6 p.m., just stopped coming. I saw Ryan's Instagram instead, photos of family gatherings I wasn't at. Great night with the family, the caption said, showing my parents, Ryan and his girlfriend, even distant cousins I barely knew. I wasn't in any of them. My MIT friends noticed. Everything okay with your family? My old roommate asked over coffee. You haven't mentioned them in months. What was I supposed to say? That I'd been erased? That I was being punished for refusing to hand over 3 years of my work? I tried calling my father once. He picked up on the fourth ring, sounded distracted. Dad, what's going on? Why am I not being invited to… Nora, he sighed. Your mother and Ryan are under a lot of stress right now. The company is struggling. Maybe it's better if you give everyone some space. Space from what? I haven't done anything. You refuse to help your brother after everything this family has given you. Everything this family has given me? I felt something crack open in my chest. You didn't come to my MIT graduation. You didn't ask about my work once in 5 years. What exactly have you given me? Silence. Then, I think you should apologize to your mother and Ryan. When you're ready to be part of this family again, let us know. He hung up. I sat in my car outside the MIT campus, watching students walk by with backpacks and coffee cups, and I realized something. I'd been erased. Not by strangers, not by enemies, by the people who were supposed to love me. On December 20th, 2024, my mother called. I almost didn't pick up. Nora, no greeting. I wanted to let you know that Christmas this year is going to be family only. I waited. The implications sank in slowly. You're asking me not to come. I'm suggesting that it might be better for everyone if you didn't. Ryan is bringing some very important clients. It's a crucial time for the company, and we need the atmosphere to be positive. And I'm not positive. You're angry, Nora. We can all feel it. You make people uncomfortable. Your energy is my energy. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Mom, I haven't seen you in 6 months. How would you know what my energy is? I'm trying to protect you, she said, and she almost sounded like she believed it. You'll be miserable here. You hate these gatherings anyway. Isn't it better to just skip it this year? You're uninviting me from Christmas. I'm giving you an out. Her voice hardened. Take it gracefully, Nora. I hung up. I sat in my apartment, studio, 500 square feet, Cambridge, and looked at the small, fake Christmas tree I'd bought from Target. Looked at the lights strung across my window. Looked at the empty space where family was supposed to be. Then I opened my laptop. There was an email waiting, from Forbes. Subject line, IPO feature request. Ms. Townsend, we understand Neural Thread Inc. is preparing to go public in Q4 2024. We'd like to feature you in our 30 Under 30 Tech Innovators series and cover your company's IPO announcement. We're particularly interested in your journey as a female founder in AI. Would you be available for an interview? I read it 3 times. Then I hit reply. Yes, and I have a story you're going to want to hear. December 28th. My mother called again. Nora, about New Year's Eve, Ryan is hosting at the house, investors, potential partners, some important people from Boston Medical. It's essentially a business event. Okay. So I wanted to make sure we're clear. This isn't a family party. It's professional. You understand what I'm saying. You don't want me there. I don't want anyone there who's going to create tension. Ryan is under enormous pressure. His entire career depends on these relationships. If you showed up and what? Said something? Told the truth? She was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was cold. Don't come, Nora. For everyone's sake, just stay away. Don't worry, I said. I will. I hung up. I stood in my kitchen, tiny, barely room for one person, and looked at my calendar. December 31st. Empty. No plans, no invitations, no family. I thought about calling friends, but they all had plans. Parties, dinners, trips. Normal people doing normal things with people who wanted them around. I opened my laptop instead. The Forbes interview was scheduled to go live at midnight on January 1st, 2025. The writer had spent 3 weeks verifying everything: patent documents, email chains, the recording from Ryan's office, testimony from Dr. Elena Martinez, my old MIT professor who'd watched me develop the algorithm from scratch. James Kirby, my lawyer, had reviewed every word. You're legally protected, he'd said. The NDA doesn't cover your personal IP. Everything you're revealing is documented and true. They can't touch you. The article was ready. TechCrunch had a companion piece set to publish at 12:01 a.m. My company's IPO announcement was queued. All I had to do was let it happen. I looked at the clock. December 28th, 9:47 p.m. 3 days until my family's perfect New Year's Eve party. 3 days until the truth went public. I said one word out loud to my empty apartment. Good. December 31st, 2024. 11:00 p.m. I sat on my couch in the dark, my laptop open, Instagram pulled up on my phone. Ryan's story, a video of the party. The mansion lit up like a resort, white lights wrapped around every column, string quartet playing in the foyer, people in cocktail attire holding champagne flutes, laughing. My mother in a black Armani gown, holding court. My father in a tuxedo, shaking hands with men in expensive watches. Ryan at the center of it all, confident and charming, toasting with someone I recognized from the business pages, a hospital CEO maybe, or a major investor. No one noticed I wasn't there. No one asked. I watched strangers through my window setting off fireworks in the park across the street. Couples kissing, groups of friends counting down together. I was alone, not just physically, existentially. I refreshed my email. The Forbes article was staged and ready. Published time, 1200 a.m. Esting, 6 minutes away. I opened the draft one more time, scrolling through the sections. Neural Thread Inc. goes public at $2.1 billion valuation. Founder Nora Townsend reveals family betrayal. Email evidence shows brother attempted IP theft. There were screenshots, timestamps, the recording from June, transcribed and verified. Dr. Martinez's statement. I can confirm that Nora Townsend developed this algorithm independently during her graduate work and subsequent private research. Any claims to the contrary are factually false. James Kirby's legal analysis. The NDA signed by Ms. Townsend pertains only to Townsend Industries' existing proprietary information. It does not and cannot extend to her independent work. My cursor hovered over the browser tab. On TV, the countdown started. 10, 9, 8. I looked at my phone. Ryan's Instagram story updated. Everyone raising their glasses. 3, 2, 1. Fireworks exploded outside my window. I hit refresh on Forbes. The article went live. 11:59 p.m. I counted the seconds. The Forbes homepage refreshed. My face appeared on the screen. Professional photo, serious expression. Headline in bold. Neural Thread Inc. goes public at 2.1 B valuation. Founder reveals family betrayal. Below it, the TechCrunch notification hit my phone. MIT grad becomes youngest female AI billionaire and accuses brother of IP theft. Twitter exploded. I watched the notifications pile up, the hashtag neural threads starting to trend. The TV showed crowds in Times Square, confetti falling, people kissing and crying and celebrating. My phone was silent for exactly 60 seconds. Then it started. Text messages flooding in, numbers I didn't recognize, journalists, old colleagues, people from MIT I hadn't spoken to in years. My inbox crashed and recovered, email after email loading. Forbes writer, it's live, prepare yourself. James Kirby, you're legally clear, don't respond to anyone without talking to me first. Dr. Martinez, Nora, I'm so proud of you. Call me if you need anything. I sat in the silence of my apartment, my hands shaking, and I thought about my family 2 hours away. Thought about the moment someone at that party would check their phone, would see the headline, would interrupt the champagne and the laughter to say, my phone rang. Ryan, 12:01 a.m. I stared at the screen, watching it vibrate against the coffee table. Then I picked up. Hello, Ryan. Nora. His voice was shaking. Behind him I could hear chaos, raised voices, someone crying, the clink of glass. What did you do? Dad just saw the news and he's not breathing right. Mom is screaming. What the hell did you do? I kept my voice level, calm. I went public, Ryan, my company, my work. Your company? He was shouting now. You signed an NDA. You can't just, this is defamation. This is, Mom, I'm talking to her. His voice moved away from the phone, then came back. You put our private conversations in Forbes? You recorded us? I documented the truth. The truth? He laughed, wild and bitter. You published emails out of context. You made it look like I stole from you when all I did was try to help the family business. Ryan? I closed my eyes. The patent was filed 4 months before your first investor pitch. The timestamps don't lie. Those are coincidences. People work on similar ideas all the time. Not with identical frameworks, not with the exact terminology I used in my research notes. Behind him, I heard my mother's voice, shrill. Is that her? Give me the phone! You've destroyed us, Ryan said. His voice cracked. Investors are already calling. They're pulling out. The board is... Do you understand what you've done? You've killed this company. You've killed our family. No, Ryan, you did that when you tried to erase me. You called me your assistant. You told investors I was helping with research I created. You demanded I hand over my algorithm and threatened me when I refused. That's not help. That's theft. The NDA, the NDA doesn't cover my personal IP. Ask your lawyers. Or better yet, read the Forbes article. James Kirby explained it pretty clearly. Silence. Then a click. He'd hung up. My phone immediately rang again. My mother, I answered. But before I tell you that conversation, I need you to understand how I got here. 6 months earlier, July 2024, I was sitting in Tata Bakery near MIT with Dr. Elena Martinez, my former professor and thesis advisor. Elena was in her 50s, sharp-eyed and direct, the kind of professor who didn't waste time on pleasantries. She'd won awards for her work in neural network architecture. When she asked to meet, I came. "Your algorithm is exceptional, Nora," she said, stirring her coffee. "I've reviewed the papers you sent. This is publishable, career-defining. Why are you sitting on it?" I told her. All of it. The family pressure, the NDA, Ryan's demands, the slow erasure from family life. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she set down her cup. "An NDA cannot steal your intellectual property if you never gave it to them," she said. "You filed the patent under your name, correct?" "Yes, March 2022, before Ryan even asked." "Then you're protected. But Nora, you need documentation, emails, recordings, anything that establishes timeline and ownership. If this escalates, you need evidence that speaks for itself." "I have it," I said quietly. "I've been keeping records since the beginning." "Good." She leaned forward. "But here's what I need you to understand. Silence protects abusers. You think you're keeping the peace. You're not. You're letting them write the story. But if you speak up, you'll face consequences, absolutely. Your family will be angry. Some people won't understand, but you'll have your integrity, you'll have your work. And you'll show every young woman in STEM that they don't have to disappear to make other people comfortable." She pulled out her laptop. "I'm willing to go on record. If you decide to tell your story, I'll verify every piece of your research. I'll testify to the timeline, the originality, all of it." "You'd do that?" "Nora, documentation protects you, but witnesses make it undeniable." I left that meeting with a decision half made and a recorder full of truth. September 2024, Sand Hill Road, Palo Alto. My two co-founders and I sat across from a venture capital firm that specialized in healthcare tech. The office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Silicon Valley, modern furniture, a wall of startup logos they'd funded. The partner, mid-40s, Stanford MBA, sharp suit, leaned back in his chair. "Neural Threads technology is solid. Your early trials are impressive. We're ready to back your IPO. What's your timeline?" I glanced at my co-founders. We'd discussed this. "Q4 2024, I said. "Ideally around New Year." "New Year?" He frowned. "That's unconventional. Markets are slow during holidays. Why not wait until February or March when institutional investors are back?" I chose my words carefully. "There's a personal milestone I'd like the announcement to coincide with. A statement I need to make." "A statement?" He looked intrigued. "Care to elaborate?" "Family issues," I said. "Intellectual property disputes. I want the IPO to go public at a specific moment when the truth needs to be told." My co-founder touched my arm. Warning, caution. But I continued. "I want to include a personal statement in the IPO announcement about the origins of this technology, the challenges I faced protecting it, and why independent verification of ownership matters in the tech industry." The room went quiet. The partner exchanged looks with his colleagues. "That's highly unusual. IPO announcements are typically focused on financials and growth projections." "I understand. But if we're valuing this company at nearly $2 billion, the public deserves to know the full story, including the attempts to steal it." "Steal it?" Now he sat forward. "You're alleging IP theft?" "I'm documenting it. I have patents, emails, recordings, expert witnesses. Everything verified by legal counsel. If someone challenges my ownership, I can prove, definitively, that this work is mine." He studied me for a long moment. "Get me the documentation," he said finally. "If it's as airtight as you say, we'll structure the announcement however you want." We shook hands. I was building a bomb. I just needed the right moment to detonate it. November 2024. Zoom interview with Forbes. The journalist was professional, mid-30s, with a reputation for hard-hitting tech coverage. She'd spent 2 weeks fact-checking before we even spoke. "Nora, your company is about to go public with a valuation that will make you one of the youngest female billionaires in tech, but you've indicated you want to discuss something beyond the success story. Can you elaborate?" I took a breath. 3 years ago, my brother, who is CEO of Townsend Industries, a medical device company, attempted to claim my algorithm as his company's intellectual property. I have documentation proving that I developed this technology independently, filed patents in my own name, and was subsequently pressured to hand it over. When I refused, I was effectively erased from my family. "Those are serious allegations." She wasn't skeptical, she was careful. "What evidence do you have?" I shared my screen. Patent filing from March 2022. Emails from Ryan requesting collaboration, then demanding the algorithm, then threatening legal action. The NDA I'd signed, and James Kirby's legal analysis showing it didn't cover my personal work. The recording from June 2024. Dr. Martinez's written statement. The journalist was silent, scrolling through documents. "We'll need to verify all of this," she said finally. "Independent authentication, legal review, expert testimony." "I've already arranged it. James Kirby will provide legal analysis. Dr. Martinez will confirm the research timeline. My co-founders can testify to the development process." "And you're prepared for the fallout?" "This will be public. Your family will respond. It could get ugly." I thought about Christmas, about being uninvited, about sitting alone while they celebrated without me. "I'm not seeking revenge," I said quietly. "I'm seeking recognition, for my work, for every woman whose family tried to erase them. I've been silenced long enough." She nodded slowly. "When do you want this published?" January 1st, 2025, midnight, the same moment my IPO goes public. "That's bold." "It's necessary." She closed her notebook. "If everything checks out, we'll run it. But Nora, be ready. Once this is out, you can't take it back." "I know," I said. "That's the point. This is the part where everything shifts. If you've made it this far, you're part of this journey." Drop A in the comments if you've ever had to stand up for your own truth, even when it hurt. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next part is where the real confrontation happens. Let me take you back to New Year's Eve. My mother was calling. I answered. "Hello, Mom." "Nora." Her voice was ice, controlled fury. "What you've done is unforgivable." I documented the truth. "You humiliated this family in front of the world. Do you understand what you've done? Ryan's investors are calling. They're pulling funding. The board is demanding emergency meetings. Your father is... He can't even speak right now. That's not my responsibility." "Not your responsibility?" Her voice cracked just slightly. "You destroyed your brother's reputation. You made us look like monsters. You violated the NDA." "No, Mom, I didn't. The NDA covers Townsend Industries' proprietary information. It doesn't cover my personal work. James Kirby made sure of that." "We will sue you. We will take everything. You'll lose." I kept my voice steady, professional. "And it'll be public. Every filing, every deposition, every piece of evidence will become part of the court record. Do you really want that?" Silence. "You've destroyed Ryan's career," she said finally. "Investors are walking away. Business partners are cutting ties, all because you decided to air family business to the entire world." "No, Mom. Ryan destroyed his career when he tried to steal my work. I just made sure people knew the truth." "The truth?" She laughed, bitter. "The truth is you were always jealous of Ryan. You couldn't stand that he was successful, that he was respected, that people actually liked him." "The truth," I interrupted, is that you've spent my entire life making me feel like I didn't matter, like my work wasn't real, like I was an inconvenience. And when I finally built something that couldn't be ignored, you tried to take it away. You're delusional. I have timestamps, Mom, patents, emails, recordings. The truth isn't a feeling, it's documentation. Another silence. Then, you are no longer part of this family. Something in my chest loosened, relief, grief, freedom. I haven't been part of this family for years, I said quietly. You made sure of that. I hung up. The phone rang again immediately. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Ms. Townsend? This is David Park from TechCrunch. Do you have a moment? A journalist. Of course. I'm aware of the article you published, I said carefully. We've seen a statement from Townsend Industries. They're denying your allegations. They claim you're disgruntled and seeking attention. Would you like to respond? I walked to my window, looked out at the fireworks still bursting over Cambridge, strangers celebrating while my family imploded 2 hours south. I stand by everything in the Forbes article, I said. I have documentation that any independent party can verify. Patent filings from March 2022, email chains showing the timeline of events, expert testimony from Dr. Elena Martinez at MIT, legal analysis from Intellectual Property Council. If Townsend Industries wants to dispute the facts, they're welcome to try. Your brother claims the similarities between his presentations and your patent are coincidental. How do you respond? My patent was filed 4 months before his first investor pitch. The framework, terminology, and architecture are identical. Coincidence doesn't explain that. Copying does. There's speculation that this revelation will affect Townsend Industries' funding and partnerships. Any comment? I paused. Thought about the employees there, people who had nothing to do with Ryan's decisions. My goal wasn't to harm the company, it was to protect my work, but actions have consequences. If investors choose to walk away because of ethical concerns, that's their right. One more question. Do you regret going public? No, I said. I regret that it was necessary. I hung up and opened Twitter. That neural thread was trending. #3 nationally. Comments poured in. This is why women in tech need to document everything. Her brother really thought he could steal her work and get away with it? Townsend Industries is done. No one wants to work with IP thieves. But also, she destroyed her family for money. That's disgusting. And family issues should stay private. This is just vindictive. I closed the app, let them think what they wanted. The truth was out. That was enough. I didn't sleep. At 6 a.m. on January 1st, 2025, I gave up trying. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and stared at the avalanche. 247 missed calls, 512 emails, thousands of Twitter notifications. I started reading. From Dr. Martinez. Nora, you were so brave. I'm proud of you. Call me when you're ready. From James Kirby. Townsend Industries lawyers contacted me at 2 a.m. They're threatening to sue for defamation and NDA violation. I've already sent them our legal analysis. They have no case. You're completely protected. From one of my co-founders, holy shit, Nora, CNBC wants to interview us. Bloomberg too. What do we say? From the MIT Alumni Association. We'd like to feature you in our next newsletter as an example of protecting intellectual property and standing up for yourself. But there were others too. A distant cousin. How could you do this to your family? Do you have any idea what you've done to your mother? An old family friend. I've known the Townsends for 30 years. They're good people. You're destroying their reputation for attention. Someone I didn't even know. You're a disgrace. Family is supposed to come first. I read them all, let them wash over me. Then I opened the positive ones again, from a woman I'd never met. I'm a software engineer. My former boss took credit for my code for 2 years. I stayed silent because I was scared. Reading your story gave me the courage to file a formal complaint. Thank you. From another. I've been hiding my startup from my family because they don't think it's real work. After reading about you, I'm going public with it. You gave me permission to exist. From another. My father told me I'd never be as successful as my brother. I'm sending him the Forbes article. I sat back, overwhelmed, exhausted. But for the first time in years, maybe in my entire life, I felt seen. Not by my family, by the thousands of people who understood exactly what I'd been through. I wasn't alone anymore. By 10 a.m., Ryan held a press conference. I watched it live on YouTube, my laptop propped on my kitchen counter, coffee going cold in my hand. He stood at a podium in the Townsend Industries conference room, the same room where he'd presented my ideas as his own. Behind him, the company logo. Cameras flashing, journalists packed into the space. He looked terrible. Rumpled suit, no tie, eyes red-rimmed. "Thank you all for coming," he started, voice rough. "I want to address the allegations made by my sister, Nora Townsend, in this morning's Forbes article." He cleared his throat, read from prepared notes. "My sister is going through a very difficult time. We love her. We've always supported her, but her allegations are baseless and hurtful. Townsend Industries has always respected intellectual property law. We've never stolen anyone's work." A journalist raised her hand. "Can you explain the timeline discrepancy? Her patent was filed in March 2022. Your first investor presentation using similar technology was in July 2022. How do you account for that?" Ryan shifted. "Many people work on similar ideas simultaneously. The tech industry it's collaborative. Ideas overlap. But the Forbes article includes emails where you specifically asked her for the algorithm. You wrote, 'We need the full diagnostic AI framework.' How is that an overlap?" "Those emails are taken out of context." "What context makes 'we need your algorithm' mean something other than a request for her proprietary work?" Ryan's face flushed. "I was trying to collaborate with my sister, to bring her into the family business. She's interpreting it as..." She also published a recording of a June 2024 meeting where you threatened legal action if she continued her independent work. Can you comment on that? "That recording was made without my knowledge. Massachusetts is a one-party consent state. The recording is legal. What about the content? Did you threaten her?" Ryan gripped the podium. "This press conference is over." He walked out. The cameras kept rolling. Within 2 hours, the clip was viral. Reddit, Twitter, TikTok. CEO melts down when asked about IP theft. Watch this tech bro try to explain away evidence. My phone buzzed. Text from Dr. Martinez. He buried himself. You didn't even have to be there. She was right. I didn't need to destroy him. He did it himself the moment he lied on camera. By 4 p.m., Townsend Industries issued a statement. I read it on my phone, sitting on my couch, still in the same clothes I'd worn last night. The board of directors of Townsend Industries has voted to suspend CEO Ryan Townsend pending an independent investigation into recent allegations regarding intellectual property practices. The board takes these matters seriously and is committed to upholding the highest ethical standards. An outside firm has been retained to conduct a thorough review. The statement was signed by the board chair, not my father, not my mother, someone independent. I sat back. Let it sink in. Ryan was suspended, not fired, not yet, but removed from power. My phone buzzed. An email from someone I didn't know, a board member I'd never met. "Ms. Townsend, on behalf of the board, I want to express our regret for any harm caused to you by the actions of Townsend Industries leadership. We are committed to a transparent investigation and will act according to its findings. If you are willing, we would appreciate the opportunity to meet with you and your legal counsel to understand the full scope of what occurred." I forwarded it to James Kirby. He called 5 minutes later. "This is good, Nora. This means they're taking it seriously. They're protecting the company from liability by distancing themselves from Ryan." "What happens now?" "They investigate. Interview witnesses, review documents, assess whether Ryan violated company policy or fiduciary duties. If they determine he acted improperly, which seems likely given the evidence, they'll have grounds to terminate him. And if they don't? Then investors will do it for them. I'm seeing reports that major stakeholders are already calling for his removal. The board knows if they don't act, the company's reputation is finished. I hung up and opened Twitter again. A business reporter had posted, "Sources tell me two major investors in Townsend Industries have already pulled their backing. More expected to follow. Ryan Townsend's career may be over." I didn't feel triumphant. I felt empty. Like I'd won something I never wanted to fight for in the first place. January 2nd, morning. My father called. I stared at his name on my screen for 3 rings before I answered. "Nora." His voice sounded old, tired. "Can we talk?" "We're talking. I mean really talk. Not like this." He took a shaky breath. "I owe you an apology." I didn't say anything. Waited. "I knew," he said finally. "I knew something wasn't right with Ryan's presentations. I knew the technology wasn't his. I suspected it was yours. And I said nothing." "Why?" "Because I'm a coward." His voice cracked. "Because your mother was so proud of Ryan. Because the company was struggling, and I thought if we just got through this quarter, if we just closed this funding round, everything would work out. I told myself you'd understand, that you'd be okay." "I wasn't okay, Dad." "I know. God, Nora, I know. I let you be erased. I let them push you out. I let your mother disinvite you from Christmas and New Year's and—" He broke off. When he spoke again, he was crying. "You're my daughter. I should have protected you. I should have stood up for you. I was weak, and I failed you, and I'm so sorry." I closed my eyes, felt tears on my own face. "An apology doesn't undo it," I said quietly. "It doesn't give me back the years I spent thinking I wasn't good enough, that I was the problem. I know it doesn't, but I needed you to hear it. I'm proud of you, Nora. I've always been proud of you. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to go against your mother, against Ryan, against everyone except me." Silence. Then, "Yes. I don't know if I can forgive you yet," I said, "but I'm glad you called." "That's more than I deserve," he said. "If you ever want to talk, really talk, I'm here. I'll do better, I promise." "I'll believe it when I see it, Dad." Fair enough. We hung up. I sat on my couch and cried. Not because I was sad, because something I'd been carrying for years had finally, slightly, loosened. January 3rd, a LinkedIn message from someone I'd never met. "Ms. Townsend, my name is Marcus Williams. I'm a partner at Riverside Capital. In 2023, your brother Ryan Townsend approached our firm with a pitch for what he called an exclusive AI diagnostic tool developed in-house at Townsend Industries. We passed on the investment because the technology didn't align with their core competency. After reading the Forbes article, I realized, I think it was your algorithm." He'd attached a PDF. "This is the pitch deck Ryan sent us. I thought you should see it." I opened it. Townsend Industries logo on the cover. "Revolutionary AI-driven diagnostics. Early disease detection platform. Dated August 2023. I scrolled through. Slide 3. Core technology framework. It was my algorithm. Not similar, not inspired by, identical. The neural network architecture I'd spent 2 years developing, the data processing pipeline I'd designed, even the specific terminology, threaded analysis nodes, a phrase I'd coined in my thesis. He'd copied it, wholesale, and tried to sell it. My hands shook as I forwarded the email to James Kirby. He called immediately. "This is huge, Nora. This isn't just attempted theft for company use. He was trying to profit off your IP. That's fraud." "What do I do with it?" "Do you want to press charges?" I thought about it. About Ryan, already suspended, already facing professional ruin, about criminal charges, trials, publicity. No, I said. But I want Forbes to have it. I want it public. I want everyone to see exactly what he did. I'll send it to them. The article went live that afternoon. New evidence suggests Ryan Townsend attempted to sell sister's intellectual property to outside investors. The pitch deck was embedded in the article. Side-by-side comparisons with my patent filing. Expert analysis from intellectual property lawyers. The comments section exploded. This isn't a family dispute, this is theft. He didn't just try to claim her work, he tried to sell it. How is he not in jail? I closed my laptop. I didn't need to read more. The truth was doing the work I couldn't. January 4th. The fallout hit critical mass. Boston Medical Center cancels $15 million contract with Townsend Industries amid ethics scandal. I read the headline 3 times. The statement from BMC was clinical, professional. In light of recent allegations regarding intellectual property practices at Townsend Industries, Boston Medical Center has elected to terminate our partnership effective immediately. We cannot in good conscience work with a company under investigation for ethical violations. We remain committed to partnerships built on integrity and trust. $15 million. Gone. I scrolled through the business news. Townsend Industries stock, they'd gone public 5 years ago, had dropped 28% in 3 days. Analysts were calling it a catastrophic loss of investor confidence. Employees were posting on Glassdoor, "Everyone's terrified. We don't know if the company will survive this." An email landed in my inbox from someone with a Townsend Industries email address. Subject line, "Please. Ms. Townsend, I'm a project manager at TI. I've worked here for 8 years. I have 2 kids. I'm scared I'm going to lose my job because of what your brother did. I know you have every right to be angry, but a lot of us had nothing to do with this. We're just trying to make a living. Please, if there's anything you can do to help the company survive this, please consider it." I stared at the email for 20 minutes. These people, engineers, administrators, salespeople, they hadn't stolen from me. They hadn't erased me. They were collateral damage in a war they didn't start. I felt sick. I called James. The company is hemorrhaging. Employees are terrified. What do I do? "Nora, you didn't cause this. Ryan did." "But you told the truth. If the truth destroys something, that something was already broken. You're not responsible for fixing it." I wanted to believe him. But late that night, alone in my apartment, I couldn't stop thinking about those employees, about their families, about the damage spreading far beyond the people who deserved it. I didn't want innocent people to suffer, but I also couldn't let guilt silence me again. January 5th. An email from my mother. "Nora, we need to meet, face to face, please." I didn't want to, but something, maybe curiosity, maybe a sliver of hope, made me agree. We met at Thinking Cup, a coffee shop in downtown Boston. Public, neutral, safe. She arrived in a black Burberry coat, sunglasses even though it was overcast, heels clicking on the tile floor. She looked thinner, older. She sat across from me, ordered nothing. "Nora." She took off her sunglasses. Her eyes were red-rimmed. "I'll admit that Ryan made mistakes, poor judgment. But this, what you've done, is destroying the family business. Employees are losing their jobs. Your father he's not well. The stress—" "Mom, why am I here?" She leaned forward. "What do you want? Money? A position at Neural Thread for Ryan? A seat on the Townsend Industries board? Name your price, and let's end this." I stared at her. "You think I did this for money? Then what? Revenge? Attention? You've made your point, Nora. You've shown everyone you're successful. Now let's move forward." "Move forward?" I laughed empty. "You want me to issue a retraction?" "A clarification. Say that the situation was more complicated than the article suggested, that family dynamics were misunderstood, that you and Ryan have reconciled." "We haven't reconciled." "Then pretend." Her voice hardened. Do you understand what you're doing to us? To your father's legacy? To… to you? I met her eyes. You're worried about your reputation, about what your friends at the country club are saying. Don't be childish. I'm not being childish. I'm being clear. I will not retract the truth. I will not pretend this didn't happen. I will not disappear to make you comfortable. Then you're willing to destroy us. No, Mom, I'm willing to protect myself. If that destroys you, maybe you should ask why protecting me was never a priority. She stood, put her sunglasses back on. You'll regret this. I already regret it, I said quietly. I regret that it was necessary. She walked out without another word. I sat alone, coffee untouched, and felt something settle in my chest. I wasn't going to save them. They had to save themselves. January 6th. An email that changed everything. Dear Ms. Townsend, on behalf of the Women in Tech Summit, we would like to invite you to be our keynote speaker at our annual gala on February 15th, 2025, in Boston. Your story, standing up for your intellectual property, refusing to be silenced, building a billion-dollar company against extraordinary personal obstacles, is exactly what our community needs to hear. We have 200 attendees registered, including students, professionals, and industry leaders. We would be honored if you would share your experience. I read it twice, then called Dr. Martinez. They want me to speak at a gala in front of 1,200 people. That's wonderful, Nora. I don't want to be defined by family drama. I don't want to be the woman whose brother stole her work. I want to be known for my algorithm, for my company, for… Nora. Her voice was gentle. You're not defined by drama. You're defined by what you built, and by refusing to let anyone take it from you. That's the story. But how many women do you think are sitting on their work right now because they're scared? Because their family told them it doesn't matter? Because they don't want to make people uncomfortable? She paused. You're not just telling your story. You're giving them permission to tell theirs. I thought about the emails I'd received, hundreds of them, women who said I gave them courage. Okay, I said, I'll do it. I started writing the speech that night. Not about revenge, not about family dysfunction, about boundaries, about documentation, about the difference between keeping the peace and protecting your integrity, about what it costs to disappear and what it takes to refuse. I wrote until 3 a.m., deleting and rewriting, trying to find words that were honest without being bitter. By the time I finished, I had a draft, not perfect, but true. And truth, I was learning, was the only thing that mattered. January 10th, a text from Ryan. Nora, can we talk? Not as CEO and founder, as brother and sister. I stared at the message for 2 days. On January 12th, I called him back. Nora. He sounded exhausted. Thank you for… I didn't think you'd call. What do you want, Ryan? I wanted to say… He took a shaky breath. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much I hurt you. I was so focused on saving the company, on proving I could lead it, that I didn't think about what I was taking from you. You didn't realize or you didn't care? Long silence. Both. Maybe. I don't know. I thought I was helping, bringing you into the family business, making your work part of something bigger. It was already part of something bigger. My company, my vision. You tried to erase that. I know. His voice cracked. And I don't know how to fix it. You can't fix it with one conversation, I said. But if you want to start, really start, you can issue a public statement. Acknowledge what you did, not because lawyers told you to, not because the board demanded it, because it's the truth. If I do that, the board will fire me. Permanently. Then you have a choice to make. Nora, please. You told investors my work was yours. You tried to sell my algorithm to outside firms. You threatened me when I refused to hand it over. Those aren't misunderstandings, Ryan. Those are choices. And if you want any chance at redemption, you need to own them. You're asking me to end my career. I'm asking you to tell the truth. What you do with that is up to you." He was quiet for a long time, then, "I need to think." "Take your time," I said. "I'm not going anywhere." We hung up. I didn't know if he'd do it. Didn't know if he even could. But I'd given him the roadmap. Whether he took it wasn't my responsibility anymore. January 15th. Ryan posted a statement on LinkedIn and Twitter. I saw it at 9 a.m., sitting in a coffee shop in Cambridge, trying to work on Q1 projections for Neural Thread. I owe my sister, Nora Townsend, a public apology. Over the past 3 years, I attempted to claim credit for work that was entirely hers. I presented her algorithm to investors as if it had been developed by Townsend Industries. I pressured her to hand over her intellectual property. When she refused, I threatened legal action. I was wrong. Nora developed Neural Thread's core technology independently, filed patents in her own name, and built a company from the ground up while I tried to take it from her. I violated her trust. I damaged her professionally and personally. And I justified it by telling myself I was protecting the family business. That was a lie. I was protecting my ego. I am stepping down from all roles at Townsend Industries to allow for an independent investigation. I hope in time to earn back trust, not through words, but through actions. But first, I needed to say this. Nora, I'm sorry. You deserved better. You deserved support, recognition, and respect. Instead, I gave you betrayal. I hope you can forgive me someday. But I understand if you can't. I read it 3 times. The comments flooded in. This took courage, respect. Too little, too late. He only apologized because he got caught. Apologies don't undo theft. At least he admitted it. Most people never do. I didn't know what I felt. Not vindication exactly. Not satisfaction. Relief, maybe. That he'd finally told the truth. But also emptiness. Because an apology couldn't give me back the years I'd spent believing I was the problem. I called Dr. Martinez. He apologized, I said. Publicly. How do you feel? I don't know. It doesn't fix anything. But it's the first time he acknowledged your reality, she said gently. And that matters. Yeah, I said. It does. January 20th. Townsend Industries issued another statement. The board of directors announces that Richard Townsend, company founder, will return as interim CEO while the organization undergoes comprehensive restructuring. Ryan Townsend has resigned from all positions effective immediately. Townsend Industries is committed to restoring trust through transparency, ethical leadership, and a thorough review of our intellectual property practices. We have retained an independent consulting firm to audit our processes and implement stronger safeguards. We recognize that recent events have damaged our reputation and relationships. We take full responsibility and are committed to meaningful change. It was signed by my father. He called me that afternoon. Nora, I wanted you to hear this from me. I'm back, temporarily, just until we stabilize. Are you okay, Dad? This is a lot of stress for you. I'm fine. And I owe this to the company, to the employees, to, he paused, to you. I let things fall apart. I'm going to fix them. What's the plan? Full ethics review, new policies on IP, on credit, on collaboration, transparency reports. We're also bringing in a DEI consultant to assess our culture. Make sure what happened to you doesn't happen to anyone else. That's good, I said quietly. Nora, I know I can't undo what happened, but I'm trying, really trying. I know, Dad. Would you? He hesitated. Would you consider consulting for us, not on technology, on policy, on how to build a culture where people like you, brilliant, innovative people, feel valued instead of erased? I thought about it. about walking back into that building, about helping the company that had tried to erase me. Maybe, I said. Someday, but not yet. That's fair. The door's open. Whenever you're ready. We hung up. I didn't know if I'd ever be ready, but I appreciated that he asked, and that he didn't pressure me when I said no. February 15th, 2025. Boston Convention Center. I stood backstage at the Women in Tech Gala, listening to 1,200 people settle into their seats. The venue was massive, stage with professional lighting, screens on either side showing the event logo, tables arranged in neat rows. Dr. Martinez found me in the green room. You ready? No. I smoothed my dress, simple black sheath, nothing flashy. What if I freeze? You won't. You're telling your story. That's all. The MC's voice echoed through the space. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Nora Townsend, founder and CEO of Neural Thread Inc. Applause. I walked onto the stage. The lights were bright. I couldn't see faces, just silhouettes. 1,200 women watching me. I took a breath, started. For most of my life, I was told I made people uncomfortable. I was too quiet, too focused, too different. I didn't fit the mold of what my family wanted, so I believed that the problem was me. Silence. They were listening. I spent years trying to shrink, trying to be less, trying to make my work smaller so other people wouldn't feel threatened by it. And when my family tried to erase my work entirely, I almost let them, because I was more afraid of conflict than I was of disappearing. I paused, looked out at the shapes in the darkness. But then I realized something. I wasn't uncomfortable. I was just surrounded by people who couldn't see my value. The applause started, scattered at first, then louder. When my family tried to take my work, I had two choices: stay silent to keep the peace, or speak up to keep my integrity. I chose integrity, not because I wanted to hurt anyone, but because I refused to disappear. The applause grew, some people stood. To every woman here who's been told to shrink, to be quieter, to take up less space, your work matters, your voice matters, and no one, not even family, has the right to take that from you. Standing ovation, the entire room on their feet. I looked out at them, women who understood, who'd been there, who'd chosen themselves even when it cost them everything. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt free. After the gala, I returned to my apartment and opened my laptop. The messages had started during the speech. By the time I got home, there were hundreds. Your story gave me the courage to report my boss for taking credit for my research. I filed a formal complaint today. Thank you. I've been hiding my startup from my family for 2 years because they don't think it's real work. I'm launching publicly next week. You gave me permission. My father told me I'd never be as successful as my brother. I'm sending him the Forbes article and your speech. I'm done shrinking. I left a toxic job because of you. I documented everything, just like you said. They tried to claim I breached my NDA. My lawyer proved they were wrong. I'm free now. I'm 19. I just declared my major in computer science. My parents wanted me to do something practical. I'm doing this anyway, because you showed me I could. I read every message, every single one. Some made me cry, some made me laugh. All of them made me realize I wasn't just telling my story. I was part of something bigger, a movement of women who refused to disappear. I responded to as many as I could. Document everything, protect your work. Don't let anyone make you believe you're the problem. Set boundaries. It's not selfish, it's survival. Your voice matters. Use it. Late that night, Dr. Martinez texted, You did good, Nora. Really good. I looked around my small apartment, no longer lonely, just mine, and typed back, I think I finally believe that. March 2025. I moved to San Francisco. Not because I was running away, because I was running towards something. Neural Thread's main office was in the Mission District, bright, open space with whiteboards on every wall and a team that actually valued collaboration over hierarchy. I wanted to be close to it, close to the work that had saved me. I found a small apartment near Dolores Park. One bedroom, bay windows, old hardwood floors. Nothing fancy. But mine. I spent a weekend unpacking, setting up my desk, laptop, monitor, the framed patent certificate James Kirby had given me, hanging photos, Dr. Martinez and me at my MIT graduation, my co-founders at the IPO celebration, a candid shot from the Women in Tech Gala. No photos of my family. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I didn't feel guilty about it. On Sunday evening, I called my father. Dad, I'm in San Francisco now, moved this weekend. San Francisco. He sounded wistful. That's far. It's where the company is. I know. I was hoping you might come back to the East Coast eventually. Maybe someday, I said. But not yet. Fair enough. Nora, if I want to visit, would that be okay? Not now. I know you need space. But someday? I thought about it. About my father, flawed and passive, but trying. Call me first, I said. Don't just show up. And Dad, I need you to understand. If you come, it's because you want to know me, not because you're trying to fix the family. I want to know you, he said quietly. I should have wanted that a long time ago. Yeah, I said. You should have. I'll call before I visit. I promise. We hung up. I stood at my window, looking out at the park, the city lights, the life I was building from scratch, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged to myself. June 2025. NeuralThread announced a partnership that changed everything. We held a press conference at our San Francisco office, small, intimate, just our team and a handful of journalists. I stood at the front with my co-founders, our CTO pulling up the presentation on the screen behind us. Today, NeuralThread Inc. is proud to announce a partnership with Johns Hopkins Hospital. We've signed a $50 million contract to implement our AI diagnostic platform across their medical network. This technology will improve early detection for pancreatic cancer, lung disease, and neurological conditions, diseases that often go undiagnosed until it's too late. The journalists started typing. Cameras flashed. One raised her hand. Ms. Townsend, this is a major milestone. How does it feel to see your work finally recognized at this scale? I thought about that question, about the 3 years I'd spent protecting this algorithm, about the family that tried to take it, about the night I sat alone in my apartment while they celebrated without me. It feels like justice, I said. Not revenge, justice. Another journalist. Your company's valuation has nearly doubled since the IPO. You're now worth an estimated $4 billion. Does that vindicate your decision to go public with your family story? I didn't go public for vindication, I said. I went public because staying silent was costing me my integrity. The success, the money, the partnerships, all of it. That's not why I did it. But it does prove something. What's that? That the people who told me my work didn't matter were wrong, that I was right to protect it, that I was right to believe in it, even when no one else did. After the press conference, my co-founders opened champagne in the office. To Nora, one of them said, raising a glass, who refused to disappear. We clinked glasses. I looked around at the team, people who saw my work, who valued my voice, who never once made me feel like I was too much or not enough. This, I thought, this is what I was fighting for. December 31st, 2025. New Year's Eve. 1 year since the night that changed everything. I was in my San Francisco apartment, but I wasn't alone. My team had come over, 10 of us, crowded into my small living room, passing around plates of takeout and arguing about the best sci-fi movies. At 11:30, my phone buzzed. Dr. Martinez, video calling from Boston. I stepped into my bedroom, answered. Nora, She was smiling, warm apartment behind her. How are you? Good. Really good. I'm so proud of you. This year, everything you've accomplished. I couldn't have done it without you. Yes, you could have, but I'm glad I got to be part of it. She paused. Have you heard from your family? My dad texted earlier. Happy New Year, sweetheart. I love you. He's visiting in February. We're having dinner. Just the two of us. And Ryan? Nothing. I don't expect to. And your mother? Nothing. I looked out the window at the city lights. I don't think she'll ever reach out, and I'm okay with that. Are you really? Yeah. I spent my whole life waiting for her approval. I don't need it anymore. We said our goodbyes. I returned to the living room just as the countdown started on TV. 10, 9, 8. My team joined in, shouting and laughing. 3, 2, 1. 2. Fireworks erupted outside. Someone popped another bottle of champagne. I stood at my window, glass in hand, and thought about last year. About sitting alone in Cambridge, watching strangers celebrate, feeling invisible. I wasn't invisible anymore. I opened my laptop, pulled up a blank document, and started typing. 1 year ago, I was alone on New Year's Eve. Tonight, I'm surrounded by people who see me. Not the version they want, but the version I am. Healing didn't mean reconciliation. It meant accepting that I deserved better and building a life that reflected that. I posted it to LinkedIn. Within minutes, comments poured in. Thank you for showing us what boundaries look like. You changed my life this year. I'm not alone anymore because of you. I smiled, closed the laptop, rejoined my team. This was my family now, the one I chose. So if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. A lot of people have asked me, do you regret it? Was it worth losing your family? Here's the truth. I didn't lose my family. They lost me when they chose reputation over relationship, when they decided my work didn't matter, when they tried to erase me rather than celebrate me. And yes, it was worth it, because the alternative was disappearing. I spent 29 years trying to fit into a frame that was never built for me, trying to be quieter, smaller, less, trying to make other people comfortable at the cost of my own existence. I'm done with that. You don't owe anyone, not even family, the right to erase you. If you're sitting on work that you're afraid to claim, document it, protect it, file the patents, save the emails, record the meetings, build a paper trail that speaks for itself. If you're being told you're too much or not enough, find people who see you. They're out there, I promise. And if you have to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your integrity, choose integrity. Every single time. Because your voice matters. Your work matters. And you deserve to exist fully, loudly, unapologetically. This is my story. What's yours? If this story meant something to you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Check the description below for resources on intellectual property protection, setting boundaries with family, and finding support when you need it most. And if you have a story you want to share about standing up, speaking out, refusing to shrink, leave it in the comments. I read every one. Thank you for being here. See you in the next video.